Hello, everyone, and good morning. This is Mustafa Al Bushref, one of the doctoral students at UPV University. Today, we're going to present a research study about flipped learning. And from the topic, we see that enhancing EFL pronunciation with AI powered tools, a research study on integrating AI in flipped learning for EFL pronunciation teaching. So what we have here, we have EFL. So EFL, okay, stands for English as a foreign language. Okay, so we have EFL and ESL, but according to this research, we focus on the EFL, and you know the difference between them. Okay, and we have also the flipped learning. So flipped learning or flipped classroom or flipped pedagogy, different names for this approach actually. Yeah, briefly, the flipped learning means that the teacher prepare a record and send it to his or her learners, and the learners will, watch this record and study it well and train well on the information inside it to prepare it for the next day. The next day, they attend to the lecture and they will discuss all the information inside the previous video or record that their teacher prepared. So here, the students will have, a good opportunity for asking questions and getting feedback for their pronunciation according to this research. Okay, and also it's good opportunity that the teachers have when they give the right feedback to to their learners, to allow them to adjust or develop their pronunciation. And also it's about the time. It's a really important thing, and this is, if we compare between the traditional and the flipped learning. So in traditional learning, you don't have enough time, I'm talking to the teachers, to give feedback, sufficient feedback to your learners. So in this case, the flipped classroom, we're going to be a good solution for that. Yeah. So let's move on and talk about the background. Okay, so here the pronunciation is really important for communication. It's part of the conversation actually. And yeah, when we want to learn, so of course we're going to face some challenges, and also to break down all these challenges, so we need innovative teaching approaches. And actually the research have done about using the AI tools in pronunciation to teach pronunciation are really limited. Yes. Here are the challenges in EFL pronunciation. So the first one is the influence of the mother tongue, of the first language. Yeah, so for example, the Spanish people, they pronounce the E letter at the end of the word, okay? But the English people, the British, they don't. So if we take, a word, a simple word, just like water, in British it's water, the E is omitted, it's not pronounced, and or it's schwa, as they call it. But if the influence of the first language for Spanish people or for Arabian people is like, they say watery, yeah. But, so this is the influence of the yeah, first language, but after getting the feedback, as we said, from the flipped teaching, so they can adjust this pronunciation and develop it in a correct way. Yes. The other one is the exposure. So actually, we need, to talk with native speakers to develop our pronunciation. And in some countries, EFL countries, they don't have, native speakers, or maybe there are not enough sources for that. But with the flipped classroom, it should be. Sorry. And the other one is the perceptual biases in sound recognition, different biases that the learners may face. One of them is, the expectation. So we will talk about this a little bit. So in doing the conversation, sometimes if you know about the conversation, about the topic, so you will expect, what is the next word, and you will hear it before the speaker say it because you expect it. So maybe you will hear it in your pronunciation. So whatever the speaker use, here you will not hear it from the speaker. You will hear what you have known actually. So if your focus is good, you can change it by listen carefully, and sometimes we find ourselves lost during the conversation. So we will keep the same pronunciation for the word that we expected without, listen to the speaker. Also, the feedback is really important, and it's going to be insufficient for the. I'm talking about the traditional way. Uh, yeah, but with the flip teaching, there is enough time for good feedback. And this is related to the time. Actually, in the traditional classroom, the time is not enough, but for the flipped classroom, it's really enough time for the feedback. Okay, here for the flipped classroom is going to be student-centered approach and self-paced learning outside the class. As we said, it's going to be outside. When the learners come to class, they're going to be, an open discussion, which motivate them to make the interactive practice during the class time. Also, it's enhanced the opportunities for feedback, as we said, and increased learning autonomy, and also it's going to be better time using inside the class. Okay. So this is about the flipped learning model. Here, the tools, the power tools in language learning, uh, we need sometimes the speech recognition technology, real-time feedback systems, okay, and the other tools appeared in this slide. Actually, it depends on the teacher, it depends on the level of teaching, and so on. But with these tools, the opportunities, for practicing is going to be 24/7. So, anytime, anywhere, in any position, the learner will have this opportunity, to practice English and pronunciation in a perfect way, actually. Here, move to the research questions. Yeah, of course. How does the integration of AI-powered tools and flipped learning model affect the accuracy, fluency, and learner confidence? And what are the learners' perceptions and attitudes? Do they like it? Do they feel comfortable with it or not? What are the implementation challenges? And this is really important, actually. That's what I faced with my students during practicing this model. Not all of the students will prepare the lecture in a good way. Some of them, they don't have enough time. Some of them, they forget to prepare. Some of them are lazy students. Some of them, they don't have a good connection. Some of them, they forget it. Okay, so when they attend, they forgot their questions or the lecture. And all these are obstacles and challenging actually in implementation this model. Yes, so here the methodology for this research, it's a normal way, mixed methods and experimental design. The duration here is important, so I rely on just one academic semester, but you can use, the full, semester or, I mean, full course. Yeah. Of course, we need a pre and post assessment, to compare between them and to see to which, I mean, are the learners, their levels in pronunciation improved or not. Okay. And also we need a regular monitoring, yeah, and continuous feedback. Yeah, okay. For the methodology, the participants that I chose from university level EFL learners, I prefer from the first or second grade is better. Here, the learners are from English departments, okay? Yeah. The experimental and control groups, okay, we need two groups to what to compare between them. This is about the flipped and traditional approach. The tools that I used, software for pronunciation. This is just, to write a report about the mistakes, about the weak points, the strong points, and so on. Yeah, and the system for management. Okay, so system for management is just like, for example, in the first day you're gonna study, um, yeah, the consonants. In the second day you can study the vowels and so on. Yeah, the assessment instruments, some tools that we use, for assessment. Okay, and yeah, the data collection methods. So some tests for the accuracy and fluency assessment, of course. Some surveys about, their opinions. So semi-structured interviews, class observation, and for the analysis. Yes. The outcomes that we expected from implementing the flipped classroom, that learners should improve their pronunciation accuracy and fluency and of course the confidence. Yeah, and they will have enough information about how to use the AI tool effective AI tools for pronunciation and know their effectiveness. Okay, they're going to be interactive and engagement. Yeah, and also there is a guidelines for implementing this approach. Yeah, so the significance of using the flipped classroom, contributing to EFL pedagogy and guidelines for the AI integration is just like the previous slide, same information, has teaching practices and improve learner outcomes. Technology has learning insights. Okay. Here, the last point, which is the future research directions. So next slide is about the future research directions. Long-term effectiveness studies is going to be better. Yeah. And cross-cultural applications. So we know that learning language without culture it means that you learn nothing. AI tool development recommendations. So when you have, experience in applying or using AI tools, so maybe you can write down the recommendations for the companies to create new models or new tools for assessment, the pronunciation, the integration with other language skills, the scalability consideration, and finally the policy. So when you have good information about that, about using the flipped, you're gonna write down your own policies to develop this approach. Okay, and finally the references you find that I use for this research. So thank you very much for your listening, and if you have any questions, I'm really happy to answer them. Thank you and goodbye.